96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The government kills the opposition bid for an immigration subcommittee. As Prime Minister Davis says, the opposition has no entitlement to question time in the House. And the cabinet reconvening a shantytown task force. Plus, a 21-year-old man charged with threatening to kill the Prime Minister. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, my special guest co-host, Alexis Burrows, will be joining us. Also this morning, we've got them. We're going to talk with Bahamas Wrestling Entertainment. They're doing professional wrestling right here in the country. We'll talk about their league. And later, it's our monthly series, Consumer Voice, with the Consumer Protection Commission. Getting ready for World Consumer Rights Day. And we're going to talk a lot about 242 Day, which is fast approaching. And now government endorsed, folks. We'll get into all of that this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, parliamentarians overwhelmingly voted against the formation of a select committee on immigration as requested by the opposition. The vote was 22 nays, 5 yeas, and 10 MPs were absent, including Prime Minister Philip Davis and former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Shortly before the vote, Davis informed the opposition that now is not the time for reports on immigration, but rather action. Prime Minister Davis saying that, quote, I would like to think it was a genuine view of the opposition that a select committee would be an answer to resolving the issues that face us on irregular migration. They're entitled to have that view, but we think that on our side, we are sufficiently satisfied that the appointment of a select committee to look into these matters again continues to kick the can down the road and will not bring the results that we think we can by what we have been doing as we have demonstrated. The Prime Minister added that the committee is an unnecessary tool to engage in at this time and will only distract members from parliamentary business. Debate on the appointment of the committee started around noon when he moved debate on a resolution for the appointment. Opposition leader Michael Pintard said the country could once and for all have a fulsome, all-inclusive, and transparent examination of the historical issue and make recommendations to holistically address it. Meanwhile, Works Minister Alfred Sayers advising Parliament that the Cabinet has reconvened the Shantytown Task Force following the February 10th decision by the Supreme Court to lift an injunction in place for 5 years after determining the Shantytown eradication policy the Minister administration had in place was indeed legal. The Minister administration established that Shantytown Action Task Force in 2018 to execute its Shantytown eradication policy. That task force was headed by then Minister of Labor Dion Fowkes, but its work was stopped when a group of 177 Shantytown residents and the nonprofit organization Respect Our Homes Limited took legal action against it and secured the injunction. Speaking in the House yesterday, Sayers said that the irregular, unpermitted structures in the country Now that the court has dismissed the action, the cabinet has reconvened that shantytown task force, and they've met with the group. They've started their work. He says surveillance and surveys are being done throughout the country. Prime Minister Philip Davis, in a national address on Sunday, had tough talk on shantytowns, advising residents to leave those communities. And though acknowledged that his administration is ignoring major provisions of the Public Procurement Act passed under the Minutes administration and supported by the PLP in opposition, Prime Minister Davis insisting in Parliament that his government is following the rules. He says they don't believe that laws are being broken, but that rules are not. He says the administration is transparent and accountable, and that the Ministry of Finance, in conjunction with the Go Bonfire, is finalizing a report on contracts awarded by his administration since coming to office in September 2021. A 21-year-old man accused of threatening to kill Prime Minister Davis will learn on Thursday whether he will be released on bail. Isaac Roberts of Seabreeze Lane pleaded not guilty to the threats of death. The charges he faced at arraignment before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt yesterday. Prosecutors alleged that a man called the Central Police Station around 8:30 a.m. on Saturday and threatened to kill the Prime Minister. Investigations led to Roberts, and police officers seized 3 cell phones as evidence. The prosecutor objected to bail for Roberts. Ferguson Pratt did not deny bail outright, but Roberts has been remanded until the bail hearing. And a man was shot early Sunday morning just feet away from where his brother was killed 6 months earlier. 50-year-old Yukul Bain died in hospital. He was walking home from a nearby bar at around 1:30 a.m. when he was shot. A relative on the scene confirming this. Back on August 13th, 2022, his brother, 57-year-old Mikael Bain, was shot in almost the exact same spot. According to police, the incidents took place on Kenilworth Avenue in South Beach. In relation to the matter, on Sunday, police say a family member heard the sound of gunshots, and when he looked outside, he saw Bain lying on the front porch suffering from gunshot injuries. It was reported that occupants of a white van were seen speeding off. Bain was taken to the hospital by private vehicle. Back in August, his brother was sitting with a group of men, a group of people at least, in front of the same home when he was shot and killed. According to police, the older brother was sitting on the front porch around 10 a.m. when he was approached and shot multiple times by 2 men. A 16-year-old boy was charged with murder last August in relation to Bain's death. And Long Island MP Adrian Gibson has been removed from the Public Accounts Committee at the request of opposition leader Michael Pintard. Shortly after the House started, House Speaker Patricia DeVoe brought to the House's attention that they received word from the opposition leader requesting the removal of the Long Island MP. He was replaced by Central Grand Bahama MP Hiram Lewis. After the House broke, Pintard was asked why Gibson was removed. Pintard saying, quote, "We normally make committee changes. It's nothing so dramatic that it's worth a discussion in the public domain." Overseas, Russian President Vladimir Putin accusing Western countries today of igniting and sustaining the war in Ukraine, dismissing any blame for Moscow, almost a year after the Kremlin's unprovoked invasion of its neighbor that has killed tens of thousands of people. In his long-delayed State of the Nation address, Putin cast Russia and Ukraine as victims of Western double-dealing and said Russia, not Ukraine, was the one fighting for its very existence. Putin saying in a speech days before the war's first anniversary on Friday, quote, "We aren't fighting the Ukrainian people. Ukraine has, quote, become hostage of the Kyiv regime and its Western masters, which have effectively occupied the country." The speech reiterated a litany of grievances that the Russian leader has frequently offered as justification for the widely condemned war and ignored international demands to pull back from occupied areas in Ukraine. And from Turkey and Syria, the death toll in those countries rising now to 8 in a new and powerful earthquake that struck just 2 weeks after devastating one killed nearly 45,000 people. Turkey's disaster management authority saying 6 people were killed and 294 others were injured with 18 in critical condition after Monday's 6.4 magnitude quake. In Syria, a woman and a girl died as a result of panic during the earthquake. The earthquake's epicenter was in the town of Defni in Turkey's Hatay province, which borders Syria. It was also felt in Jordan, Cyprus, Israel, Lebanon, and as far away as Egypt, and followed by a second magnitude 5.8 trembler and dozens of aftershocks. Officials are warning quake victims to not go into the remains of their homes, but people have done so to retrieve what they can. They were caught up in the new quake. In sports, day one of the 2023 Hugh Campbell Basketball Classic in the books. And whereas there were no major upsets, a game between two playoff teams in the BAISS turned out to be a complete one-sided affair as the Jordan Prince William High School Falcons flew away from the Kingsway Academy Saints with a score of 20-1. Yes, you heard that right, 20-1. Well, 20-1 scoring run at least. Covered the second and third quarters, allowing the Falcons to pull away from the bewildered Saints, winning 76-49 at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. The Saints were competitive early, taking a 9-8 lead, but that wasn't enough. You can read all about it in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather for today. We've got an expansive high-pressure system that continues to strengthen across the country. Beachgoers along easterly beaches should exercise caution as there's a risk of rip currents. For all areas today, we're looking at mostly sunny and warm conditions with a chance of a passing shower, turning fair and mild at night. Small craft operators should exercise caution due to easterly swells, winds south-southeast to south-southwest at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times. That's in the central and south and the northwest and central islands, and then easterly at 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the northwest and central islands, but 2 to 4 feet in the southeastern islands. Seas building to 6 feet in easterly swells. We're looking at another hot day today, highs getting up to 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, wake
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
Welcome to the power of Visa, with access to thousands of travel and shopping and dining discounts with up to $1,500 in savings yearly with Mobile Assist's new prepaid Visa travel rewards cards. Book the cheapest flights, even cheaper than Orbitz and Expedia. Get cash back at participating hotels, car rentals with automatic insurance, and online shopping discounts at U.S. stores like Gap, Best Buy, and more. Get your 30-day free trial when you download our Mobile Assist app. Visit Mobile Assist/rewards now for your prepaid Visa travel rewards card.
Alive is rewarding its prepaid and postpaid customers because you deserve it. Become an Alive prepaid customer and get cash back in your wallet. Or switch to Alive postpaid and earn monthly credit and data so you never have to pay your bill in full again. Download the My Alive app and get rewards today. Alive. Believe in best.
242 Day, February 24th. It's 242 Day. Proud to be Bahamian. Represent your Bahamian pride on 242 Day. Wear your national flag colors or Bahamian prints. Enjoy delicious Bahamian dishes, rake and scrape with Bahamian music, art, and entertainment all day long. Be sure to post those photos with hashtag 242 Day. Hashtag Celebrate Bahamas. Friday, February 24th. Check the calendar, cause it's 242 Day. Get your Carifta tickets. The 58th Carifta Games is coming. April 7th to April 10th. Tickets are on sale now. Online at Carifta50.com or at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, Western Grand Entrance. For more details, email tickets@Carifta50.com or call 605-4051.
Whether you're looking for your first or new home or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
Are you a Bahamian student conducting innovative research in economics, finance, or business that could change the future of the Bahamas? Is your completed work fit for publication? You can win $20,000 from the T. Baswood Donaldson Research Prize for unpublished papers that adhere to the academic standards of formatting and presentation. Submission deadline is April 30th, 2023. For more information, email exr@centralbankbahamas.com or ka.demerit@centralbankbahamas.com.
Hi, my AC just went out and I need someone to come fix it.
I'm sorry, we're closed.
Okay, what about tomorrow?
We're only open on Thursday. And we're fully booked.
Have anything next week?
No.
Okay, when can you send someone out?
The 22nd is open.
I'll take it.
Of December 2023.
With the best medical cover for your dollar, we're like an AC technician who isn't too busy for you. CG Atlantic Medical and Life. Good like that.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 4224796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, my guest co-host today, once again, Alexis Burrows.
Morning.
Good morning.
Dwight.
Great to have you with us, as always.
Bahamas. Good to be here.
Hope all is well. Coming up,
Can't complain.
we've got a segment inspired by you, based on our first conversation here about professional wrestling and your love of professional wrestling and my bewilderment at it. And then we got that call by a gentleman saying that he was part of a professional wrestling league here. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. I know we have some amateur wrestlers, the Greco-Roman style freestyle type, but not professional wrestling. Anyway, the Bahamas Wrestling Entertainment Group, we're going to be talking with them this morning.
You know, this only ends with you doing commentary for them, right? Like this is the natural end point of where all of this is going.
I might have to be the color commentator because I don't think I could be. Anyway, we'll see. But something commentary of some kind, I guess. But yeah, looking forward to that. Later in the show, it's our monthly Consumer Voice segment with the Consumer Protection Commission. We're going to be talking with them this morning. World Consumer Protection, Consumer Rights Day is coming up in a few weeks in March. We'll get a preview of that, but also about 242 Day, which we've been promoting for more than a year, trying to get people to celebrate the Bahamas on February 24th, the 24th of the second month, 242. And we finally got government endorsement. They have put it as part of their calendar of events for the 50th anniversary, and hopefully it'll be a thing every year. And we're going to be talking about that with consumer protection as well. And so we're looking forward to that, which is Friday, 242 Day. So again, everybody get those flags out, wear those flag colors, and do something very Bahamian. And they've got some very exciting things going on at CPC in relation to this, and they'll tell us about that. Maybe that'll inspire all of you listening. So a lot to get to on this Tuesday morning. Let's begin, though, with what else is in the news. And in the news, finally, they've been waiting for a while for this. The opposition in the House yesterday getting to ask questions during question time. It was delayed a few weeks ago. You remember the actor responded very angrily to the fact that it was being delayed by just shouting, answer the question, answer the question, answer the question. But they finally got their day. And that also made them angry because they're like, why? What is this? Why are we entitled to just one day out of the blue? This is not how it's supposed to work. And that started this bitter back and forth between the Prime Minister, Philip Davis, and Opposition Leader Michael Pintard. And I don't know. Take a listen to what they're saying, and let's talk about it after. Then we'll get into some of the things that came out of the House yesterday. But this report from our Paige McCartney.
It was Opposition Day in the House of Assembly, whereby ministers answered a number of questions the opposition has long had on the agenda. Well, ahead of today's sitting of Parliament, the Office of the Prime Minister said the Davis administration recognizes the important role of the opposition in promoting transparency and accountability, and that by giving the opposition the ability to question government and bring significant topics to the forefront of legislative debate, this government is contributing to the functioning of a healthy democracy and showing an appreciation for the opposition's role in parliamentary democracies. But this afternoon, Opposition Leader Michael Pintard said government is not doing the opposition any favors.
So we are expecting every Wednesday, the second Wednesday of every month, that we will have question and answer day. So this is not a courtesy being extended to us. We're not grateful for the day being extended. It is our entitlement as the opposition. And so what the member is saying, it doesn't carry any water.
Government's decision last week to delay opposition question and answer time by a week touched off a ruckus protest by opposition MPs who chanted, "Answer the question," as they disrupted proceedings until the short sitting ended. Rule 39.2 of the House rule states that unless the House determines otherwise, the House shall proceed on the second Wednesday in each month with the agenda that allows for question time. However, Prime Minister Philip Davis today said it's not an entitlement.
Misinterpret the rules. There's no entitlement. There's no entitlement. Right? There's no entitlement. What the rule says, right, that you, unless the House determines otherwise, the House shall proceed. Let me read it for you so you could understand it, so you could disabuse your mind of any thought, disabuse your mind of any thought, disabuse of any mind that you have an entitlement. There's no such entitlement. So, Madam Speaker, might I read the rules so that we can understand what the rule says?
Well, one question in particular the opposition has been asking for quite some time was when will the Prime Minister table in the House of Assembly the list of companies that have been awarded government contracts since the Progressive Liberal Party came to office? Prime Minister Davis explained government is currently in the process of preparing that list.
The question I remember ask.
All right. Our Paige McCarty with that report there. Interesting commentary from the Prime Minister, and the way things go in the country and have been going since after 1997, it's quite possible that Mr. Davis could come to regret saying that in about 3 years or so.
So my question is, has that? So that's been around for forever, right? This
question time.
Yeah. Was it something that the previous administrations have done?
They've all treated it like this in recent years.
Right.
Yeah, it's been hardly ever you get this time to do this.
Pardon me being a little immature, but it's just the way it's even worded, like question time. It sounds so preschool, right? It's like, it's now your time. You can sit in the corner and raise your hands and ask questions. I understand that
it's very British.
Yeah, it is.
Have some tea and question time.
Tea and crumpets and question time.
Crumpets is right. That's all you get.
Right. But, it's interesting because, like you said, if we continue down the path of flip-flopping as we are wont to do when it comes to elections, but I think we often don't think that far into the future to consider that when the shoe is on the other foot and you may want to have questions answered, that the exact same thing, and then I know the way we are as a people, they will be very petty and they will actually just play the voice clip of him saying it in Parliament just for the extra juice,
or
right?
Read it. I don't know if they could play a clip, but they'll read it.
Right.
Like, this is what he said.
Quoted by Prime Minister at the time.
Yes.
This is what we do. I get the importance of it, but I think it's always the same issues, right? Like, I feel like every time you get a year or two into an administration, it's, who have the government contracts been awarded to? And at some point, as a regular Bahamian, I look at it and I'm like, do I care anymore? Because everybody does it, right? Every time you go, it's everybody has people that they either know or familiar with or whatever. Like, this is a thing that happens. And it's not to say that it's okay, but at some point, you just it becomes noise in the background, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think there are far more important things to be discussing and far more pertinent things to have questions about than, who got the contracts this time around, because that's something that's going, from my perspective, like I say, as a regular Bahamian, just seeing it happen, that's going to happen every time administration changes. So to me, I'm more concerned about the things that are current and are, more likely to have an impact that doesn't necessarily change, which is, what is happening with immigration, what is happening with all of these other things that's happening, the NIB rate hike, all of these other conversations. I feel like there's much more meaningful dialogue to be had about those issues, because this is just a thing that will continue to happen.
Well, I hear you. I think they're concerned that some folks who are elected officials, people very close to them, may be benefiting, and then there's major conflict of interest.
Right.
And so that, I think you in many cases, you really do need to be very concerned, because did you win this on merit, or was it just, the usual friends, lovers, family, that kind of thing? And
I feel like it sits in that space of you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
So, okay. It's your time now, and then we'll balance it out when we get it.
I just feel like this is what happens. I mean, unless somebody is willing to actually stop it forever, but to that end,
they all say they want to stop it when they're in opposition.
Yeah, but you always want to stop it when it's not benefiting,
Right, of course.
Right.
Right. But I hear you. I hear. What do you say, folks? What's your reaction to that exchange? We don't want to dwell on it too long because there were some interesting things that came out of the House beyond that. But let's get your reaction to it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Well, it's nothing unusual what's going on. If you look at the United States government and how they set up British and whatever, there are periods where they have to have reports and accountability on the taxpayers' money. So this is a normal occasion. I'm sorry, not occasion, but it's a normal event that takes place in all parliaments around the world where representatives would inquire on issues of the present government, no matter who they are, on the situation on finance or what's going on. You know, that's something quite normal. If your guest on tonight, if he would study and look at...
No. I don't think you're understanding. I don't know if I understand what you're saying. What's normal? The opposition is saying they are not getting a chance to do what you're saying is normal.
No. What I'm saying is it's normal for them to ask questions. This is nothing new for them to ask questions.
Yeah. We all get that. Right. They are saying they're not getting a chance to do that.
Yeah,
they've been given this one time in all these months.
I'm sure somewhere down in the schedule, Parliament schedule, they do have chance for questions.
Okay, I don't think you're getting it at all, sir. This is the first time they've been able to do this in months, and it is not regular. It's supposed to be. They have a schedule, but they are not able to do it. It's been pushed back, delayed, canceled, postponed, everything you can think of. So it's the first time in a very long time they were able to do it. It is normal. You're right. And yet...
it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
But I mean, he's not... The Prime Minister is not wrong unless the House determines otherwise. And I think if you wanted to... So this is my thing, right? If you wanted to change it, and my challenge to... if the administration does change, and you brought this up, then change the letter of the law to the point where it's not a debate of whether it's entitled or not. Make it a standing thing legitimately where you don't have the get out of jail free card of unless the House decides otherwise.
Right.
Because then that way you protect your ability to do it when you sit in opposition and vice versa.
Yeah. Everybody needs to be thinking like that.
You know, who have the guts to do it?
And I mean, would that earn them brownie points in the public? Like, well, look at that. That's very big of them.
Because we've been having conversations about transparency. I mean, I think forever in politics as a general rule, but particularly here, I think going back at least the last 2 to 3 administrations, it's been a heavy conversation when you talk about Freedom of Information Act, all of these sorts of things. So if you can say, hey, this is our commitment to transparency is, we adjust this so that it is a standing thing that legitimately happens and there's no wiggle room to get out of it, then I think that goes a long way in proving that you're interested in transparency.
Absolutely. Let's take another call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
Did the Prime Minister admit that he does not have a list of all of the contracts that were issued under his administration? He doesn't have that list. He has to prepare it. Did he admit it to that? Okay, so that should be a simple spreadsheet or a Word document. But if he's running the ship without any knowledge as to who he has issued contract or they have issued contracts, will be in trouble?
Well, it's probably a lengthy list.
But it doesn't matter. He doesn't know.
Oh, okay.
It's just arbitrary. It's because you see him say one thing. You see the Minister of Foreign Affairs say something different. So apparently it's probably all over the place. And maybe he does have to prepare it, so he does not know. And that's sad and detrimental when you think about the picture what he just painted. He doesn't know.
Well, like to borrow some words from the previous caller, it's a normal thing. That's what...
Okay, be satisfied with that. Thank you.
No, not be satisfied. Just be aware. And if we're really serious... like Alexis is saying, do something. But only when you're outside do you make noise about it, it seems.
I think the interesting thing there, though, is how abnormal is that? Like, if you think about a Fortune 500 company or even, like, large organizations around here, what are the odds that the CEO or the president or chairman of a particular entity knows every last single contract that they've signed? I imagine if you ask the CEO of CFAL, for example, right, No, he's going to have someone in finance compile that list. So I imagine it's not that strange, generally speaking, right? That you're going to know every last, because you think about it, you have contracting with cleaning companies, with this one, with that one, the next one. I don't imagine that that's a list that anybody should anticipate that the leader of a company or the leader of a country should be able to rattle off, off the top of their head. Yeah. Now, I would expect that they would know the big ones, the ones that go in the multi-million and billion dollars. Like, I imagine those are the ones that they would be acutely aware of. But every last single contract, I don't think that that's that unusual from my perspective. Like I said, I just think about places where I've worked in and out of. I don't know that necessarily everything is going to be where you can pull that up and just say, I know what the list is. Somebody has it somewhere, usually in finance, but I don't imagine that that's a realistic expectation to say, hey, they just know it off the top of their head.
Right. A couple more calls on this and we want to move on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And to your guest, Dwight, when we can come to in this country to accept the fact that our politicians, right, simply are not interested in being accountable for anything, right, or being transparent in anything, right? But when we as a people can come to understand it, because,
you think that's everybody? You think it's across the board, every single one, or just a
mean
few?
The politicians?
Yeah.
Well, Dwight, let me give you some history, right? Because I talking from prime ministers, what is the head of these administrations, right? Not necessarily to every single politician, because you have some politicians that went in the House of Assembly, right, to make some difference for the benefit of the Bahamian people, but didn't have the opportunity, to the point that sometimes they had to leave the party, whether it was left or right, right? So, but I'm talking from the people in charge, what has the ability or the opportunity to make real change, right? That we could live with in the future. But we continue to see the status quo of our governance continue in this country, because talking is very is all we really do when it comes from our politicians, right? All they come to do is convince us with words. And then I really get reaching to the point where we're realizing that the politician ain't really too much of our problem, right? The people of this nation, right, would refuse to accept their fate when it comes to our politicians, right? We are the problem, because we continue shooting ourselves in our feet, but yet still we want to walk properly as a people. We got to make a different a stand, and we have to elect people who are seriously interested in changing the status quo in every way in this country. Quite overnight.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, we have to demand more, right? We have to demand it, and when you see one isn't accountable, it truly says a lot about you if you put them right back, right? Or 5-10 years later, you put the person back, right? It says a lot about you. When you knew before, we could barely get anything out of them, and they're back. Okay. Well, anyway, all right. So the big story is the opposition wanted a select committee on immigration. And they had a vote last night on this, and it was defeated overwhelmingly. The vote was 22 nays, 5 yeas. But a whole 10 were absent, including the Prime Minister, Philip Davis, and former Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis. Right, so the Prime Minister explaining why he didn't think this was a good idea, and especially after what was announced on Sunday, the national address. You have to wonder now if this was really going to be necessary. But this is what the Prime Minister said. So we think, it's a quote, we think that on our side, we are sufficiently satisfied that the appointment of a select committee to look into these matters again continues to kick the can down the road and would not bring the results that we think we can do by what we have been doing in what we've demonstrated. It will only distract members of my team from the parliamentary business that they are engaged in. Now, Pintart had been saying that they wanted to have a, quote, fulsome, all-inclusive, and transparent examination of the historical issue and make recommendations to holistically address it. This is immigration. Pintart had said, quote, we believe that the current situation in Haiti and the mood now saturating our country on this long-standing and dynamic concern deserves no less and is, in fact, vital at this stage of our nation's development. Hopefully, with the help of Almighty God, through this method, we will have an opportunity to distill a holistic policy position agreed upon by both sides toward ameliorating this troubling issue. A national consensus involving all stakeholders would be beneficial, but let there be no doubt that we are a country of laws and that those violating them should know that there are consequences. Now, while several government ministers spoke during the debate, none of them offered the position that they would take during the vote. So just random speaking. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe said the committee would force valuable personnel in the Defense Force and other key areas to devote valuable time to answering questions. Works Minister Alfred Sears pointed to the government's efforts to defend its borders, but it wasn't until Immigration Minister Keith Bell spoke that the government's position was made clear that it was not in favor of a committee. When he spoke last evening, Davis, the Prime Minister, said his administration has a plan for immigration and intends to act. And we heard a little bit of that on Sunday night. All right, so what do you make of that? What do you make of, did we, is it necessary at all to have a committee? I think can't even primary school children tell you about this and what's going on here and why there are issues? Or is everyone not sufficiently aware of what the problems are? It's just the plan forward, it seems to me, to really addressing it that seems to be challenging.
I think the only thing that, well, the benefit that comes to my mind initially as to why a select committee might be valuable is that when you do come to a conclusion, it would have been arrived at with both sides of the fence having input, meaning that if there is a flip-flop of administrations, you have an agreed upon stance as to what you're doing about immigration that should be able to withstand changes in who is in power. For me, that kind of becomes the thing that stands out as to what would be the benefit of doing this, just as an initial thought. Because if you have everyone involved, now, I'm not sure what the makeup of this committee would look like in terms of the conversation around pulling people from the Defense Force or immigration into, conversations and that sort of thing. I'm not sure what that would look like. But I think broad strokes, I could see the value, if that's what your end goal is, to have a policy that can withstand changes in administration because it was arrived at by all stakeholders, meaning both sides, opposition and governing party, as well as the stakeholders that are involved in the policing and enforcing of, whatever the particular policy is. So from that standpoint, I get it. I do also understand the Prime Minister's position in that, he legitimately just announced some things in that direction on Sunday. And so from his perspective, it's like, okay, this might be, something that isn't worth the time, so to speak, because we're already putting measures in place to enforce it. But like I said, that just goes back to the original point. If there's any disagreement on how, then when administrations change, then we go in an entirely different direction again. And I think that's the only thing I could see just off the top of my head as to why there might be value in doing the select committee.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense there. But committees here, they're formed with all goodwill and intents and purposes and everything, but then they end up like this one. The Shantytown Task Force is back. Works Minister Alfred Sears advising Cabinet that Cabinet has reconvened the Shantytown Task Force, especially now that injunction has been lifted by Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson to deal with the shantytowns. And so they're back doing surveys and questionnaires and talking to people again. Okay.
See, that's now I'm informed that I have a very rosy view of what that select committee is. Like, I just got a text message to clarify that for me.
Okay. But it makes sense. It makes sense what you're saying. But
no, I mean, if that's how it was allowed to work, or if that's how it worked, then it would make sense. But if that's not what it is, then I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so once again, they've started their surveillance of the Shantytown Task Force. Surveillance and surveys are being done, and my God. Okay, let's get your reaction, folks, really quickly. This is never going to stop. This is the same.
I mean, the thing is, it's an ongoing issue, and I think it's one of the core issues that challenges us as a nation.
Mm-hmm.
The whole concept around immigration, because, there's so many sides to how you approach it, because, we can't act as though we don't have Bahamians that go and set up shop in Canada and in the US, unlawfully, and then pretend like, we don't do the same thing sometimes. We might not do it to the same degree, or to the same effect, but it's like we have to consider kind of the full concept, right? And then at the same
crunching of toes all over the place.
And I think at the same time, though, we do also have to protect the limited resources that we have. And so it becomes it's that's why it's such a critical issue, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why the issue never really goes away, because in as much as you find resolution, the dynamics change. And it has to be a constant reevaluation and engagement on the issue to ensure that we're doing the best that we can at every moment, at every turn, because things are constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah. Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
This is Ron.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, here's what we should consider. We should consider the fact that an oversight committee, right, as far as immigration is concerned, these justices of the peace, right? We have to put up as much as C. Allen called and give a holistic solution as far as a digital platform, a digital citizen ID, and set up a system where we could scrutinize documents pre and post for their authenticity. Because what I'm saying is, we and the PM, obviously the PM it just came into power for about 2 years now, right? But what I noticed is, what would have been a good PR narrative was that not the Haitian Prime Minister, President, apologizing to us. He should be apologizing to us, right, for all of the previous inactions of all the previous administrations as far as this immigration conundrum. Now, if we have a problem with this constitutional quagmire with Haiti, its citizens always have been Haitian citizenship, and then they be granting citizenship and they're not renouncing. We don't know what's going on. Why are they not addressing this particular problem, Dwight? And then when you look at how immigration is being run, so if he's saying security and he's talking about national security and juxtaposing defense force, police force, etc., why isn't we not seeing anything on the ground? Like as far as the immigration raids and dealing with these people, even in the inner city, who are here illegally. All right? So what I'm seeing is inactions here. And then I noticed that the PM is willing, that's the loudest I ever hear him talk. But when he's addressing serious concerns like immigration, he's well harmonious and mellifluous. It is, what's going on here? You could just read between the lines on how they down talk to the Bahamian people when it comes to Freedom of the Information Act. I don't care how digitalized it becomes.
Well, I mean, you don't want him. Do you want him to be screaming when he's talking about those things?
I didn't say screaming, you know what I mean. Like a strong man, at least me, a Motley type style. But you forced me to break a chain of thought. What I'm saying is, when it comes to the Freedom of the Information Act, Dwight, if there's no such thing as the Freedom of the Information Act, when it is not being implemented and they're procrastinating on it. So here's what's going on. We know the computer system. If you don't put the information in there, there wouldn't be no freedom of information. So all of this time that they're taking, they could be, any administration, past and present, can be getting rid of papers and documents that should be included in the Freedom of the Information Act. So this is not the holy grail of democracy, the Freedom of the Information Act. They have the power to change and make changes and hide and obfuscate information. And so what I'm seeing now is just a whole host of duping the Bahamian people now. And the reason why the country can't get ahead, right? We have too much dupes, goons, and goblins, all right? That's why they're walling, and like Graham said, everybody's happy because we're not enough in numbers, unless they are guests, right? mean, stop using the excuse for where we just go and do. I know what I just do. You don't do it, right? You saying we just go in Canada. You know the insignificant population we have. Take it easy. But the thing is, the states have something in place that if, when you get caught, you're sent back. So we don't have that here.
No, we do have that.
They come here, they stay, and not their station.
Many people are. You heard the minister say they repatriated more last year than they ever had before.
Repatriation is just a farce. I'm not into what they repatriate. They went with what they see on the ground, right?
No, but I mean, this,
right?
But it's
people are just duping us. That's what they're doing. What I'm saying is they have to bring legal infrastructure in place. Like, let's say the police pull over someone. You don't have a citizen ID, and then you see what I'm saying, like that. There has to be a whole chronological of events that shows if someone is here legit or illegitimate. We don't need them coming here having work permit to be a security or a barber. And then you saw the information in the business section the other day in which he said that Bahamians, the work permit trend is moving in the opposite direction, in which they're bringing in unskilled labor, and Bahamians shouldn't have to compete with that unskilled labor. Just read the article in the newspaper. See what I'm saying is right. On the surface, everything is designed to look good. But when you really scratch into it, Immigration Department is not going to be any better unless they have a serious oversight committee with people like Dr. Drexel, Gomez, Simeon Hall, people who people could trust and who are credited with being honest. But honesty is not the order of the day. Let me give you an example, Dwight. You pass the barracks, all those brand new police cars. Dwight, you know Carms and them? Just to show you what they think about us. No one is buffering. No one is protecting the average citizen. A police state is when the police are allowed to get away with anything and no one is questioning them because of their political affiliation. Nothing will happen to them. Bless up.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for the caller. Did he say mellifluous? Is that the word that he used?
I don't remember, but it's it's an interesting point.
So we just just humor me. So for our listeners at home, the word he used was mellifluous, I think, and the definition is pleasingly smooth and musical to hear. So basically, smooth talking. But I just needed people to understand that that's what that word is, because that he threw me for a loop with that.
Oh yeah, well,
I love the
passion.
I think I think the same challenges that we have here is the same that exists everywhere, where there's opportunities for people in the system and around the system to make money in order to get people work permits or whatever it is. So that that's not unique to us, right? So I understand that there are challenges where there are people who kind of work the system to their favor and to their benefit. To say that, yes, while Bahamians in and of themselves that go into these places illegally might be insignificant on their own, that's just because there's people coming from everywhere into those places, in certain ways illegally. So we may have just a specific population that we know that is the largest, but we're not limited to only having that challenge in terms of immigration and illegal immigrants with people from Haiti. That's just the largest group that we know exists. But we have that with people from other Caribbean islands as well. Obviously, you kind of point the finger at and you have the conversation around the biggest elephant in the room. But at the same time, I do think that, as with anything, it comes down to enforcement. One, is what we have in place enforceable? And then two, is it adequately being enforced? Because your laws don't mean anything if they're not able to be enforced and or they're not being enforced, right? That's what it kind of boils down to. So I think, even in the policies that have been talked about and the ideas that are put forth from the Prime Minister on Sunday night, that still comes back to the point of enforcement. If it's not enforceable or our people aren't actually enforcing, then it still means nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to quickly mention this. The caller mentioned the freedom of information, and we had a little bit of this mentioned in the House yesterday during question and answer time. The State Minister for Legal Affairs, Jomo Campbell, unable to say yesterday when Bahamians will be able to make freedom of information requests. He was answering questions, we said. He said on the rollout date for the pilot program, Campbell said, quote, "We are unable to give specifics with certainty due to the fact that there are some dependent variables that are beyond our control, and these dates can move the goalpost from time to time." I think that point was also reaffirmed by the commissioner himself. On the timeline for the full rollout of FOIA for the entire public service, he said, quote, "The answer is the same for dependent variables, which I'm sure my colleagues are aware of."
I mean,
okay,
that is kicking the can down the road.
I don't even know if there's a can anymore. Variables that are out of their control. Whose control is it in?
I guess that's what makes them variable.
Wow. Okay, we've got a lot of your text messages, and I see the phone lines are all lit up. We'll take these after the break. We've got to take a break right now. We'll be back in a few minutes. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Sweet music, man, it makes everyone lose control. Everybody, here we go, here we go. It's better in the bomb. Everybody, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we got it going on. Everybody, here we go, here we go. It's better in the bombers, and we got it going on. One night till the break of dawn. If you from the 242, put your hand up, don't extend.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your first good traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. RBC's mortgage specialist can provide helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Just letting you know that a town hall meeting is scheduled for next week, Tuesday, for the Gladstone Road Improvement Project. That's next week, Tuesday. It's going to be the National Training Center at 6 p.m. We'll remind you about that each day. In your real-time traffic right now, as usual, we're seeing heavy traffic on Gladstone Road from just north of Fire Trail straight up to JFK Drive. That's the northbound lanes there. Over on Milo Butler Highway, similar story. In fact, even heavier, well south of the Fire Trail roundabout, all the way up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. Tonic Williams-Darling Highway also backed up westbound toward that roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. And there's a bit of some congestion eastbound to Bahamas Games Boulevard as well. Carmichael Road westbound, heading out to Coral Harbor Road, some heavy traffic out there. And Blue Hill Road is busy for you from about Carmichael straight up to Independence Drive, northbound lanes. Independence Drive, westbound, heavy traffic there. And the intersection with Soldier and East Street looking very congested for you, especially north of the intersection, East Street on the way to Independence Drive and East-West Highway roundabout. In eastern New Providence, we've got Prince Charles Drive, heavy traffic near Fox Hill Road, and especially near Beatrice Avenue. And Eastern Road, just east of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road. Westbound traffic there. That's what we're seeing at this moment. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. This Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist. And time for another check of your weather for this morning, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got an expansive high-pressure system that continues to strengthen across the Bahamas. Beachgoers along easterly beaches should continue to exercise caution as there's a risk of rip currents. For all areas today, look for mostly sunny and warm conditions with a chance of a passing shower, turning fair and mild at night. Small craft operators should exercise caution in easterly swells. Temperatures getting up to another hot 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius for highs today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook, we're expecting some beautiful but dry conditions across the country. Subsiding seas, while a high-pressure system will continue to be the dominant weather feature. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, sunny and warm with a passing shower, turning fair and mild at night. Pretty much the same for Thursday, sunny and warm, passing showers, fair and mild at night. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years, is the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Whether you're looking for your first or new home or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off labs, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Well, look at Donna, little man, all grown up talking, but he making big money now. He finally gets some sense and enrolled in the BTVI Free Smart Start Initiative. Only a few short weeks and he get construction certificate. He getting all kind of job now. All his boys, even them set on the family island, can choose from auto mechanics, beauty, construction, or fashion and get a Smart Start too. Call 502-6300 or email smartstart@btvi.edu.bs today.
With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
So I'm flying back to the island, so let's go. When you hear them beating that drum and calypso, na. There's a party going on. You can do till the break of dawn. Sweet music, man, it makes everyone lose control. Everybody, here we go, here we go. There's better in the bomb. Everybody, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we got it going on. Everybody, here we go, here we go. There's better in the bombers, and we got it going on. One night till the break of dawn. If you from the 242, put your hand up, gonna stand up for the 242.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today. Brought to you by the Grosvenor Medical Center. Here's what's happening. We've got an expansive high-pressure system that continues to strengthen across the country. Beachgoers along easterly beaches should exercise caution. There's a risk of rip currents there. For all areas today, your forecast calls for mostly sunny and warm conditions with a chance of a passing shower, turning fair and mild at night. Small craft operators should exercise caution due to easterly swells. Another hot day in store, highs getting up to 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook, beautiful but dry conditions expected to continue across the country. Subsiding seas as well, while the high pressure system will continue to be the dominant weather feature. So for the next couple of days, Wednesday and Thursday, sunny and warm with a passing shower, turning fair and mild at night. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by the Grosvenor Medical Center. Screening for colorectal cancer should begin at the age of 45. Reduce your risk for colon cancer and schedule your colonoscopy today at reduced prices for the months of March and April at the office of Dr. Harold Munnings, located next to Princess Margaret Hospital. They're offering an even lower price for those who present their NHI cards. Give them a call at 328-5550, the Grosvenor Medical Center. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. RBC's mortgage specialists can provide helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. In your real-time traffic this morning, we've got Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to the Tonic Williams-Darling Highway roundabout, the northbound lanes there. Gladstone Road also busy for you just north of Fire Trail, straight up to JFK Drive. The 6 roundabout, we're seeing traffic from multiple directions, eastbound on JFK, northbound on Milo Butler, and southbound on your Providence Highway. Looking busy for you at this hour. Some slight congestion at Saunders Beach on West Bay Street, eastbound toward the roundabout with New Providence Highway, and exiting that roundabout eastbound to Arawak Key. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic from just north of St. Vincent around Carmichael, straight up to Independence Drive. And Independence Drive is backed up a bit as well. Westbound, well, both directions, westbound and eastbound for you, between the roundabouts of Blue Hill and East Street. And East Street near Soldier Road looking busy for you, as is Eastern Road from just east of Fox Hill straight up to about Johnson Road. Those are your hot spots right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
So I'm flying back to the island, so let's go. When you hear them beating that drum and calypso, na-na-na, there's a party going on. You can know till the break of dawn. Sweet music, man, it makes everyone lose control. Everybody, here we go, here we go. It's better in the bomb. Everybody, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we got it going on. Everybody, here we go, here we go. It's better in the bomb. And we got it going on.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Alexis Burrows on this Tuesday, reminding you that Friday, the 24th day of February, is 242 Day, and we're celebrating 242 Day. And now the 50th Independent Secretary, they're on board, and they're encouraging you to wear your national colors, enjoy Bahamian dishes, participate in cultural activities, enjoy authentic Bahamian art and music, and show your Bahamian pride, and share your photos and videos using the hashtag 242 Day or Celebrate Bahamas. So we're getting it out there, and hopefully everybody will do this every year, February 24th.
I have a problematic question, Dwight.
Uh-oh.
What is considered, what all is on the list of Bahamian cultural activities?
Whatever you want it to be, as long as it's baby. As long as it's baby. We've adopted a lot of things, though. but you all know what that means. Yeah?
Okay.
You going to be wearing your flag colors?
I think so.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. And we're going to be talking about a lot more about this in our next hour, by the way. Yeah.
I mean, I hope to be on a beach, sipping on, a nice cold daiquiri. So I'll definitely have that part of it down.
A Bahama Mama for 242 Days.
Is that even a Bahamian drink?
It's got Bahama in the name. So, and they serve that at every hotel in the country.
Is twin, that you notice that, but yeah.
Something like that. Okay. So we're looking forward to it.
I'd be interested to see what all people consider as Bahamian activities and what gets posted with hashtag 242 Day. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
This is partly coming from our off-air conversation about what other people get to talk about.
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you some more during the next break. Okay. Anyway, so before the break, we were talking about the what happened in the House yesterday and getting your reaction to that. Let's get to these text messages. You can text us 422-4796 and continue to call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. Again, 422-4796. All right, so this text here. Those rules need to change. If the opposition isn't entitled to speak, I feel like it's important to hear from both sides. I'm also getting the feeling that Pintard is going for a change in certain areas while Brave wants to keep the status quo for his benefit. That's very interesting, right? And I heard a guest on another show, a caller, read something from the Blueprint for Change where they say that status quo is not going to work anymore. But everybody says that when they're outside looking in.
To paraphrase a Bahamian term, opposition could say anything. I promise I'm not trying to turn your show into a comedy show. I promise.
No, but I mean, it's right. It's just thinking about can say everything. Yeah, and that's what they are, right? But it's... Oh, boy. This text here, while they all do want interpretation, what? Okay. The fact is that it is written in the House rules and it supports the intent of the opposition to have the ability to question the governing party. Yes. The opposition would not have to ask who are getting the contracts if the government would only use a procurement system for all to see. The Prime Minister only speaks of transparency, but are they really showing it? So let's put right where it should be. This texter says, Mr. Davis telling the opposition leader that he's not entitled to anything in Parliament reminds me of the way he's treating some of us who supported him to be the Prime Minister. This, my goodness gracious, this person I'm editing would not answer his phone. Okay, I have to stop right there. Wow, okay, it's some serious stuff there. They're having some hard times reaching some, and they're very angry according to the text. Nice. Boy, good luck. People ask me to post the text messages in a place, since I don't want to read some of them on the air, like have a site. Maybe it should be a paid site. Where you pay to see what people want.
Do a Patreon. And
yeah.
People pay
if you pay, you can see the horrible text messages that are sent to us. How about that? What will we do with the money? Donate it? Charity. Or for counseling for me to have to read those messages.
No, because you don't have to read it. You could just have it show up live. Like
What?
that's
No.
So people can see it live.
That's still kind of like libel. I mean, we could get into trouble.
No, that's the people's stuff.
Oh, okay.
That ain't.
You sure?
Remember, the show starts with the views and opinions expressed are not those of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you straight.
Okay. Well, we'll think about it. This person says here, Prime Minister Davis's government is breaking many of their promises of accountability and transparency while campaigning. These men and women are playing mind games with the opposition and Bahamian people. Another one, Dion Folks in the FNM did a study. That was why they had that draft bill and why they went to court before the injunction. So why not just use their plan? I'm editing this a bit. I think that's what they're saying. Yeah, why go back and do a study, as Alfred Sears is saying? Well, I suspect the numbers have changed. I'm sure it's either, right? They're new ones now, and numbers have grown, or maybe some have diminished as other people have moved out into other new ones, perhaps. I don't know. But it wouldn't be the same numbers as before. But what is the ultimate goal of all these surveys and stuff?
Right. I mean, I think the larger question of, when do we move to action is an appropriate one.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people that, that look at it, I think that's the ultimate question that they come down to, which is, what are we actually doing to kind of to fix the issue? And like I said, the thing is, illegal immigration remains an unresolved issue in a lot of corners of the world. So we're not unique in that regard. But at the same time, that doesn't make anybody feel better at home when it impacts them, so negatively. So
yeah. Interesting text here. This person says, this is a disgrace on behalf of the government. Please state the MPs that voted against the select committee. Wow. Well, okay. Well, I don't know. It's 22 nays, but only 5 yeas. So you can figure out who the 5 yeas are, except
I have a question.
That's the 5 FNMs.
I was going to say, how many FNM?
Right, not too many.
Okay.
But Dr. Minnis is not one of those. So
because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well.
Right. He was absent. Anyway, 5 yeas, FNM. So all the POPs, you might as well just say that.
Yeah, just know that
all the POPs voted nay or were absent.
Right. So
pretty much.
I mean, I don't know what standing operating procedure is when it comes to votes like that. I'm presuming that in our space, that information is not released. But I mean, I think
it could be released. It could be released. It's right there. Yeah. Oh, they have it. Okay, well, here we go. Let's go. I have the names. You want me to read all of them? Let's do this.
I mean, are we adding value to the conversation?
I don't know, but I mean, people want to know. Okay. Those who voted against. This is long. My throat. I need something to drink. Mount Moriah MP Mikhail Bonnaby, Garden Hills MP Mario Boleg, Centerville MP Jomo Campbell, Elizabeth MP Jo Beth Colby Davis, Exumas and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper, Tall Pines MP Dr. Michael Darville, Golden Gates MP Piet Glover Roll, Engliston MP Glennis Hannah Martin, Pinewood MP Miles LaRota, North Andros MP Leonardo Lightbourne, Yamacraw MP Zane Lightbourne, Central and South Andros MP Leon Lundy, Southern Shores MP Leroy Major, Pine Ridge MP Ginger Moxie, I'm tired, Freetown MP Wayne Monroe, Central and South Abaco MP John Pinder, South Beach MP Bacchus Roll, Fort Charlotte MP Alfred Sears, Nassau Village MP Jamal Strawn, Central and South Duluth MP Clay Sweeting, Bain and Grantstown MP Wade Watson, and West Grand Bahama and Bimini MP Obi Wilshcombe.
I have one comment for hearing that list. You and I both missed out on a very great opportunity to run for the PLP in the last election because the amount of unknown names on that list is just amazing to me. That's no disrespect to anyone, but my God, that is the most unfamiliar list of names that I think I've ever heard in politics.
Do you live in any of their constituencies?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good Lord. The 5 yeas.
I know that one.
Yeah, this one's easy. Pintard, East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson, St. Anne's MP Adrian White, Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis, and St. Barnabas MP Shannon Cartwright.
I mean, it's what you would expect it to be. Like I said, I mean, I think you just have to determine what the purpose of having the select committee would be. And if your purpose is that you're trying to get to a place of something that withstands changes in administration, then that has to be your talking point. That has to be the message that the opposition is putting out there in order to try and move it to a more meaningful conversation and perhaps win over MPs from the other side of the fence, despite the challenges that come with, voting against the party.
They're not prepared for that. They're not prepared to take that.
That's because our system ain't prepared for that. That's why.
It's very sad. It's very, very sad. Let's take these calls really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
So, I'm calling in reference to the House meeting yesterday regarding the administrative leave people or public servants. My name was called yesterday in the House. I don't know if you remember me, Dwight, but I spoke to you about almost 2 years ago, going on 2 years anyway, when I was first sent home on administrative leave. And you were supposed to call me back, but you never did. But anyway, my name was mentioned yesterday because I'm still on administrative leave. And I think it's just so sad that public servants who put all their time and energy into working for the public, whenever these governments come into power, they just send you home. They pick out people who they believe are not supportive of them, and they just send them home for such a long period. And it's very stressful. It's mentally challenging, and I think they need to stop this nonsense. I work too hard for the public service to be sent home, sitting down, doing nothing.
So
my mother spent plenty of money on me to educate me. I didn't have to come back here to the Bahamas, but I always wanted to come home when I finished school. I said, I'm not staying in the United States. I'm coming home to contribute to my country. And this is what I have to go through my last few years left in the public service. I have to go through victimization.
So what's the reason they've given you?
I'm feeling this way because it's very, very hurting. Okay? It's humiliating. It's shameful. People looking at you in the public like I did something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong.
What's the reason they've given you as to why?
They haven't given me any reason. And the sad thing about it, the director now, not even the public service. The director going to send me a letter telling me that I'm on 1 week administrative leave. Then he sent me another letter saying, it has been extended to 2 weeks. Just Robert Parkinson now, the labor man.
Oh.
Then I stopped him in his tracks. I said, why are you sending me these letters? I said, you need to stop it because the next time I hear from you, I'm going to my attorney, which I never followed up on it. I was waiting for them to call me back to work. And I saw where the minister said yesterday when my name was mentioned, I know that name. What do you mean, you know that name? That means you're behind the scenes just throwing damage to people's mind and don't care?
All right, we're going to put you on hold. I just want to get your information again. I remember this case. I did call you back, just didn't get through to you. But okay. I really don't know what to tell you. But perhaps you do need to reach out to your attorney, perhaps. Yeah. We only have a couple more minutes. But good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, your guest in studio. I'm very disturbed by what I heard just now. The young lady who apparently has been victimized by whomever in the hierarchy. Many of us who have decided to come back home to serve our country, and the treatment that's being dished out, it really is a disservice to many Bahamians who really meant to come back home and help build this country. As far as the parliament is concerned, Bahamians, we have to get very serious. This two-party system that we have is not working. It has not worked effectively over the past almost 50 years. And we have to be very serious about who we put in our parliament. You talk about there's no room for third or fourth parties. I beg to differ. Because with the large numbers of persons on one side of the aisle who, no matter what the opposition brings forward, that makes sense to the Bahamian people can be quashed because the numbers are not there. It's totally ridiculous. We need another opposition in that parliament who would be the balancing act, hopefully, to bring some type of justice to the Bahamian people. We are tired of this back and forth where the Bahamian people's interest is not really, truly being served. And there's nothing more I can say on this, Dwight. It's just vexing.
Yeah.
It's very vexing to be living in this country where we should be advancing and progressing as a people, but yet it seems as if we are still living back, as if we are back in the late 50s and early 60s. This nonsense got to stop. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, let's just read these messages before we go to the break. This person says here, is it not convenient that the Prime Minister comes up with a plan on the eve of the request for the Select Committee? In any event, is it a plan or more of the same? If it was so simple and easy, why isn't it still such a crisis? Why is it still such a crisis? Maybe a thorough analysis of all factors will uncover a nugget that unlocks the entire route. That's a case for the Select Committee. And they also say no FOIA because it's too hard, no confirmation with the Procurement Act because it's too hard, no confirmation with the FSR because it's too hard, no Select Committee because it's too hard for ministers to govern while talking about aspects of it. See a trend here? Apparently governing is just too hard for the PLP. Oh boy. This person says here, why are they not taking down these shanty towns? The government had absolutely no problem knocking down the domes that Bahamians were living in Abaco. Why do these leaders favor Haitians so much? Well, again, they keep telling us it's not only Haitians in these shanty towns, but maybe the survey will find something new. I don't know. All Bahamians, oh boy, no, I don't. All Bahamians should stop paying taxes until there is a Freedom of Information Act. That's okay. That's kind of crazy there. This one says, you literally wasted precious time reading all those names when you could have read our text, Dwight. Sometimes you are impossible. Okay.
I mean,
because yeah.
But how are you adding value to the
Well, you said it, Alexis. I didn't say thank you. That same woman who got called complaining got the job. Okay, never mind. Oh, these messages. Dwight is just like the U.S. Congress. In the U.S., they vote for the president. That's just like the Bahamas. You have to vote for your party. What?
Well, no, we had this conversation off air. You do have instances in the U.S. where people will cross party lines and vote in a bipartisan manner. The challenge here is that, as we've seen in previous administrations, voting against the party line is detrimental to your own.
You might not get a nomination.
Exactly.
You might get, right? They won't even talk to you anymore. So that's unfortunate and says a lot about our maturity. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're changing gears. We're going to be talking about something that surprised me quite a lot, and I'm looking forward to this discussion. We've got a professional wrestling league right here in the Bahamas. We're going to be talking about Bahamas Wrestling Entertainment right after the break. You don't want to miss it.
You got to clear up your attitude so you don't get body slam.
This is Morning, right? This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
So elegant, using in the rap song to make it sound eloquent. Any place other than this is irrelevant. Tropical paradise, beauty is evident. This goes out to the Bahamian government, leaders of the country, members of parliament. Each and every settlement needs some development. If you ain't encouraged, then this is encouragement. We are in a country that's healthy and prominent. Visitors visit and they leave with astonishment, only to return again. I am very confident. I am sure as I is
Technology serves to make our lives better. So why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
University of the Bahamas is where greatness grows. Apply now to join a community of strong learners and leaders. The deadline to apply for undergraduate admissions has been extended to Tuesday, 28th of February, 2023. The online application process is easy. Simply visit www.ub.edu.bs and click on Apply Now. You can also browse our many academic programs, and if you have questions, email admissions@ub.edu.bs. University of the Bahamas, preparing students for better lives in a dynamic global society.
With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Time is truly wasted. There's no guarantee. Smile is in the making. We gotta fight the powers that be. Got so many voices saying all the same. Giving up all around me. Faces full of pain. I try to play my music, they say my music's too loud. I try talking about it, I got to be run around. And when I roll with the punches, I got knocked on the ground by all this going down. Hey, time is truly wasted.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Alexis Burrows on this Tuesday morning. All right, so we are changing gears entirely, although they do fight a bit in the house as well. Right? Yeah, there's a lot. We've got a lot going on there.
Show. That's professional wrestling.
Oh boy, I tell you, they certainly scripted. No. So we're talking about Bahamas wrestling entertainment. Alexis and I had a discussion a few weeks ago, and he was saying how he's a big fan still of professional wrestling, and that started a whole conversation. And then our guest called in and told us about Bahamas Wrestling Entertainment. Orthanel Hinsey is here with us. He's also known as Two-Face because he wrestles as well.
Absolutely.
And great to have you with us, sir.
Good morning, Bahamas. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was surprising to me that we actually have a league here. Tell us about it. How long have you been around?
We started in 2020, believe it or not, and I think one of the dilemmas was that COVID had kind of shut us down, but, we kept true COVID training. We got Bahamians training. We had folks come in from the U.S. to do training with us, bringing us up to speed still, with it. But from 2020 until now, we've been going strong, man. We plan on stopping. We already had 3. This will be my 3rd show in April. Wow. Yeah, Good Friday. I think on the 8th, we're going to have that show at Anatol. And so, yeah, we're going strong. We're prepared to go all the way, man.
Why did it, what led to the creation of this?
I look in, society today, and I see how we really I don't see too much of a family fun environment. And so I figured, here's something that I grew up on as a child, going with my father, Otnell Sr. taking me to Nassau Stadium, right. Ponciana Inn, and watching these, well. And I figured, I said, you know what, dude, you 6'1", 275 pounds, you could do something. Wow. You know what I mean? And I figured, get Bahamians involved, we could do it. And I always believe that if anybody out there can do anything, Bahamians can make it happen. Wow. And so I said, you know what, let's just make this happen.
All right, so, everyone's listening and like, hey, professional wrestling is fake. It's fake. It's scripted. It's acting. It's athletes acting. What do you say to that?
Well, usually we have, I'll tell you this, we have practice Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so I tell people it's open. You can come and try out at any point, anytime you want to. Here's the thing. If you believe it's fake, 5 minutes, and then you make your decision. Wow. 5 minutes in the ring, and you tell me at the end of the day whether you believe it's fake or not.
Okay, but the storylines, there's some massaging there.
There's storylines, as in any business and anything that you do. There's a protocol to follow, yeah?
Yeah.
And so once you follow the protocol, you're all right. Now, if you refuse to follow the protocol, then you will feel some actions, reactions, and other things along with it.
All right. So who should get into this?
I want all Bahamians. It has nothing to do, really, to be honest, I think anybody can come in. Anybody. It doesn't matter what race, creed you're in. Anybody can come and be a part of this. It is exciting. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, it is safe. The thing that we do in the ring is we protect one another. Mm-hmm. We do not, despite the fact of what you think you may see or not see, we protect one another in there. That is our home. Yeah. That's our bedroom. Believe it or not, that's how personal we take it.
So you can teach me how to pile drive a Lexus, and everybody will be fine after that.
Absolutely, yeah, okay. Absolutely. And I think Alexis could give you a good clothesline too. He got some arms on him, so
we'd have to do the tombstone. the sitting pile driver has been outlawed in most wrestling promotions.
Right.
Wow, okay.
Well, yeah, the independents still do it, but a lot of the top line promotions ban the pile driver.
I think that
go the most damaging.
That's the one we tried as kids.
Yeah,
tried to pile drive.
Right. I think that was because of what's his name, Stone Cold and Owen Hardy.
Yep.
Yeah. That kind of
started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, it's been a while since I watched.
Yeah, because Stone Cold got his neck broken in that movie.
In that match.
So WWE.
So there is a risk sometimes.
There is a risk. This is why we practice and we follow what you would call scripted.
Yeah.
We follow that, and we practice.
Mm-hmm. No, but I think he's right too. I mean, even in just looking at professional wrestling around the world, one of the things that you will constantly hear is that it is about protecting one another in the ring. So
absolutely,
as much as there are stories that you're telling, at the end of the day, it is a brotherhood.
Absolutely,
and I think that's the thing that you see with a lot of wrestling promotions. You see it all the time when things happen to different people, and you see it really comes. I think it's one of the strongest brotherhoods that I've seen in terms of in the space of entertainment, where there's true care about what happens to your fellow wrestlers. So
yes,
I mean, like I said, I think. I'm not the one that needs to be sold on it.
Boris, right? You sound like you're a big fan, man. That's a good thing. Thank you so much.
I'm hard right now, and I'm like, wrestlers, referees, ring announcers. I have a conversation with my wife.
We welcome you, brother. We
So
welcome you.
how many do you have right now? How many?
Approximately, I got about seven. I struggle with one thing, Dwight. I want to put this out there. One thing I struggle with. I need more females.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up. I don't know.
How many do you have right now?
One.
Oh,
and
boy. So who does she wrestle?
That's my daughter. I get her in, and we do a storyline and give her what they call a spot, and she does her thing.
Yeah.
15 years old, but of course she got my genes. So yeah, she's a big girl.
How tall is she?
She's about 5'10".
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but 5'10".
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think the women are? Because we see the videos, women are fighting a lot, but they won't want to get in the ring.
I think it's a lack of understanding. That's why I said I think that you just need to come out, try out, and check it out. Give me a call 544-1995, and we do the training and everything. We run you through it. Nobody is out there to hurt anybody. Nobody is out there to get in, but it is entertaining. It's entertainment at its best. It's just like a movie. A movie is you do what you do. Sometimes you have a slip and fall. That happens. You know what I mean? But we do, as Mr. Burroughs would have said, we do protect one another. We do look out for one another. And that's one of our codes in the wrestling business.
So this is not a full-time job yet.
Yet. We're as it stands now, the aim is at least every quarter we want to put on a show.
Yeah.
Every quarter.
So tell us about some of the guys who are in it. What do they do when they're not wrestling?
Well, everybody has their day-to-day jobs, but we try to, when it's not in the ring, we meet and we do, we train, we come up with storylines, we try to do some promotion, anything to do with the business and putting it out there. So there are times when, we sit and we chill because you want to rest. We're not like WWE. I think WWE is on the road 360 days out of the year.
Wow.
And so, small company coming up, but I believe it's going to be exactly what we need it to be every quarter.
Yeah.
Every quarter.
So tell us about your character, your Two-Face. Is that
Two-Face,
Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? Are you both? Two-Face?
Well, there are the names for it is face and heel, baby face and heel. And Two-Face is a mixture, I would say, of both, because remember he has two faces. And so I do believe that that character for me, when I came up with the character, it was because there are two sides to everybody. I learned that in life, and so I said, this is the first thing big companies look for is something that has never been seen, never heard before, something new you bring to the table. I've never heard in the history. I was watching wrestling I was in my mom's belly, and I've never heard Two-Face character in any wrestling. I've never heard Two-Face character coming out with, my roots. I come out with the Bahamian music, Junkanoo. I play that. And he's kind of scary, yet a little gentle, yet a little harsh, He's that type of dude. Yeah, he got mixed emotions going on with him.
Wow. So what are some of the current storylines going on right now?
There is a storyline between Two-Face and Debt Dealer. Also, there's a storyline between Santangelo and Island Boy. Yeah, we got a few.
What's the beef? What happened?
Debt Dealer feels as if he's more on the dark side because at some point Two-Face is on the dark side. So Debt Dealer feels like that's his playing ground, that's his field, and no one should come and disturb that, or it should not be mentioned without his name being mentioned. However, the other gentleman, Two-Face, he shares another opinion. You understand? He walks among the dead and he also walks among the living. So he does what he wants to do when he wants to do. And so therefore now there's this big conflict between the two of them of who should be walking with death and who should be walking with the living. You stay in your lane and I stay in mine so we could avoid accident. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way.
So you got something big coming up in April. We'll talk about that in a second. But I mean, in between, what goes on? Are we able to see you all at all? We have to wait for these events.
We do put out little clippets. We put out little clippets from time to time of the show, promoting the show, getting people, ready for what's to come. So in between time when you don't see us out there putting on a live show, there's always a little 31-minute commercial that comes out, and we're all over the city, and sometimes we're even on the island, because we really want to spread it. We want to get everybody involved. Presently now I'm having 2 belts being created for me in Pakistan. One is for the islands. It's going to be the islands champion. And then we have the city champion, different things, continental champion, and, different stuff like that, because we want to involve everybody. We want to expand. We want to expand.
Nice.
I was actually just going to ask you about what, your version of the world title. Who holds that right now, or is that something that's pending?
Yeah, that's pending at this point. I think to piggyback off of that, the Bahamas championship, I think, Mr. B, you were there at that show. Two-Face fought WWE Thrasher, and he was cheated out of that. He was low blowed.
That was not how I expected that to go.
Man, listen, that was a big disappointment. But it still stands that Two-Face is the number 1 contender for the belt for the Bahamas. As it stands.
Yeah.
He is the number 1 contender.
So Two-Face will get to avenge this at the next.
I'm looking forward to it. Two-Face, as a matter of fact, there's clippets out there on YouTube and Facebook where Two-Face went to the U.S. in search of Thrasher, got to where he trains and done everything, and he was not there, and one of his students was in the ring, and Two-Face had to, that guy is kind of a little off his rocker, so he went in there and he had to mash down one of the students just looking for Thrasher, but every time he calls him out, somehow he can't find him.
And this is Thrasher from the WWE. So you all collaborate. Is that how it works? Or,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's exactly the way it works.
Wow. Okay, that's some big stuff there.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what can we expect in April?
In April, I want to. There has to be an understanding. What I want to do is there are senior people. There are senior folks that have paved, senior folks who have made it happen, and I do have now contacts with them. So some of them will be coming to this April show. As a matter of fact, Mr. Burroughs, I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Larry Briscoe. You're familiar, familiar with Hollywood Hogan. These were the persons that I would have had conversation with the other day, and we're trying to get them and Kevin Nash. And it's simply because, some people, Dwight, they would say, well, hey, why are you bringing in all of the old wrestlers and none of the young ones and what's not? Here's the thing with that. When there's storyline, it's hard for them to pull away from the company they're in and perform somewhere else. So you have to get the availability of talents, you see? And those that are available, they're the ones that you can bring in. But I believe we have some diehard wrestling fans who are familiar with some of these names that will be coming, and they would definitely draw. So I know it's going to be good. In April, man, it's going to be on like popcorn. I can promise you that.
So you're going to be promoting it a little closer as we get closer to
Yes, as we get closer, I'll definitely be promoting. If you watch the screens, they have some screens around Nassau, here with 96.9 Dwight and other radio stations and ZNS and all that. It's going to be out there. We're going to put it out there.
Yep.
Definitely.
And so do you need, I see on your card you got wrestlers and referees, but I mean, do you need referees? Do you need ring announcers? Do you need other people to or just to be a part of the storyline but not necessarily wrestling? Do you need that? You looking for that as well?
I'll give you a nugget, Dwight. I'll give you a nugget. Here is one of the, and I hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth, here's one of the most important persons that is in the ring other than the talents that are wrestling is the referee. So everybody that's a part of that show is a part of what's going on.
Right.
They definitely are a part. The referee is a part. The ring announcer is a part. It's a group. None is effective without the other. So we need that. We do need referees, persons come on. We have training for that. We have training for ring announcers. any part of the show you desire to be a part of. You don't want to be in the ring with the physical or whatever. You could come on in. Dwight, I think I could use you, though.
Yeah?
I like your voice over the radio, man. I could use you.
When people get mad, they lose the match, and they body slam the referee, right?
Right.
That
Sometimes
happens.
the referee get that. Sometimes the mic is snatched away from Michael Cole and, and Larry the King. Actually, I spoke to Larry 2 days ago. So Larry might be also coming out to do, So like I said, I'm bringing the folks who really, they paved. They put in their time. They put in the work. And these are also WWE Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're excited to come to the Bahamas, man. They're excited about it.
Yeah. And what about younger people? Like, did you reach out to schools maybe?
I reached out to a few schools. I did. I think what happened was, and it's sad, I hate to put it out there, but what had happened was prior to me starting in 2020, somebody else had tried. And when certain things, they gathered, to keep a long story short, they took off and they ran. Oh. So you had folks skeptical about this next big thing, this next thing coming to the Bahamas and wrestling again, what's going to happen this time. So people are a little skeptical about it, but I think the more shows we put on and they see that this is actually happening in their backyard, they're definitely going to be a part
very
of
exciting, very exciting.
Definitely.
Orthanel Hinsey, it's a pleasure meeting you, and I see the energy and the excitement there, and I'm almost feeling the excitement I used to when I was younger, Alexis. You got me convinced. So in April, looking forward to the show, and again, you think it's going to be April
8th. I think it's going to be April 8th. Yes, definitely April 8th at Anatole Rogers School.
Okay, wonderful stuff.
Location may change, but yeah. As it stands, Anatole Rogers on the 8th.
And it's BWE, the Bahamas Wrestling Entertainment. Good stuff. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
you, sir.
Right. We're going to take a break for news and then be back with Morning Blend Business Consumer Voice right after this. Stay with us.
We gotta fight the powers that be. Got so many voices. Say on the scene.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Alexis Burrows, and it is time for a monthly series with the Consumer Protection Commission, Consumer Voice, and we're very pleased to have back with us LaVey Darling and Datus Farrington. Gentlemen, good morning.
Hi, pleasant good morning to you, Dwight, and to your listening audience.
Good morning, Bahamas.
Good to have you as always. All right, so we got a couple things we're talking about this morning, I understand. World Consumer
World Consumer Rights Day.
Rights Day is coming up next month.
Right.
And we also have 242 Day coming up in just a few days on Friday. But Consumer Rights Day, let's talk about that. What is that all about, and what are you hoping to accomplish?
Okay, well, the activities this year is actually being coordinated by our sister agency, which is Consumer Affairs, right? But it's like a tripartite thing, with BBSQ, Consumer Affairs, and Consumer Protection Commission. We all fall under the same Ministry of Economic Affairs. But Consumer Affairs is actually spearheading this. They have our full support. There's a committee being established to make sure that the day is commemorated locally. But a little background, right? The day is celebrated internationally on the 15th of March each year, right? The theme this year is empowering consumers through clean energy transitions. That theme is established every year by Consumers International. Consumers International is a global federation of consumer organizations who take care of these matters. And they have like a huge membership, right, globally, right? And so each country, like 125 countries where they have membership from, who are asked to really like speak to and develop the theme locally. Every country does their own spin on it, right? And so the day really came back from 1961 when President John F. Kennedy gave a national address to Congress, and he spoke for the first time about consumer rights, right? And so in the 80s, right, Consumers International took that, right, and ran with it, and that was every year since then. We've had World Consumer Rights Day, right?
Wonderful. And that theme is perfect for us, it seems, with what we're going through in the country.
Definitely, right? When I saw it, I was like, there's so many other organizations or government agencies that, can help us develop this theme. And so the week of activities really is being head by, like I indicated, Consumer Affairs, but Consumer Protection Commission, we're doing our own thing later in the year, right? And we'll go into more detail, right? It's going to be something more elaborate, if I may say so, right? Because we're going to have a symposium, BPL is going to be involved because you're talking about energy transitions. We all know that our Prime Minister has actually taken this global warming and clean energy and ran with it.
Yeah.
Right? It's been like a signature statement wherever we go. He speaks internationally, right? And so we're all aware of that, right? The Sustainable Development Goals unit of the OPM, right? They also speak to clean energy, right? And so we're going to be collaborating with them, right? And ERCA, definitely. Our good companion here came from there. He knows what they do. They're the regulators, so we're going to be involved with them as well moving forward. Right? And so there's a lot of plans on the drawing board. Right? We're not going to leave out the family islands. Their payments too. They have to be a part of this. And so the symposium that we intend to do, we're going to do it first in New Providence. Get our feet wet, kind of like fine tune it, and so we can just take it and do it in the family island. Just talking about schools, visits, the works, right? Because as you indicated initially, energy prices right now and fossil fuels, we all know, the damage that's causing internationally. We don't have to get a conversation, but it's well documented, right? What's going on in terms of global warming. We're a low-lying country, we're highly at risk. They say in about 2030 or so like that, like 80% of our land mass might be threatened, and so it's very real.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than the Prime Minister and the environmental groups and you all and a few other people who text in every day and talk about this, do you feel that the public, the consumers, really are aware of how close we are to a crisis when it comes to climate and the need for clean energy? Do you get the sense that people are like, this is anywhere near the front burner for them?
No, and I think you got to blame former President Trump for that. It's like fake news. So a lot of people still think it's fake news.
Still get a text at least once a week about climate change is not real.
Exactly, exactly, right? And so it's unfortunate, right? I think in the powers we should even be following the Prime Minister's lead and realizing how serious this is in terms of the threat. I mean, all you got to do is look at Dorian. Right, Dorian was what they call a superstorm, but they said that may actually become the new normal based on the warming of the planet. Right, and so we can't take another Dorian. Right, it was the most horrific storm on record.
Now, what I hear from people is that they want to update their appliances and they want to drive electric. They want to do these things, but the cost is crazy, and that as consumers they can't afford it. What's being done in that regard so that it can be more affordable for people to be on this path to clean energy?
Now, those type of questions would be addressed and researched in more detail when we go into the symposium, because when we plan that and we involve the other stakeholders, Ministry of Works, I understand, has a major role to play in that from the government, right, the SDG. So when what we want to do when we have the symposium is be able to say to consumers, this is what is available to you, from the government point of view, right? And so the government message, I think, is a little diluted right now in that area. As you indicated, people don't really know what's going on, right? I understand that they want to make it more affordable. I understand that they have a green energy drive, right? And so solar panels and stuff like that and the batteries that go along with it, they're going to be reducing the cost of that. We want to provide that type of information. We want to have the authorities involved that they can speak more authoritatively to it. In terms of the agency of government that's directly responsible for it. So that's a work in progress. I'm not able to speak in much detail right now about that because it's still in the planning stages. Right. The first thing that's coming up is the week of activities, but you're talking about a major symposium involving, as I said, NGOs, government agencies, ministries, CPC, of course, IRCA, right? And so that's being planned. And so as that, and then we do this every month, right? And so as we get closer to it, and those people are involved, we have either a feel or better feel for what the message is going to be, then we'll speak to that maybe as early as our March show.
Right, okay.
Right, moving forward.
Any idea when the symposium will be? Is that finalized as yet?
Well, my department will be coordinating it, and that will come under education, research, and training. And so I'm looking at maybe the summer month, maybe June or August, right, to get that fought off. And then in terms of the Family Islands, maybe it's October or something like that to take it into one of the Family Islands. Which one yet, I don't know, but definitely you cannot leave them out. And so, and bear in mind too that the theme stays the same for a year, right? So there's no sense really of urgency, and although sometimes that's not a good thing to say, there's no sense of urgency because you tend to do things at the last minute, but the theme doesn't change until next year, March.
Okay.
Right, it's an annual theme, and so it gives you the time to, you don't have to do everything in March, because World Consumer Rights Day falls in March, right? And I think that's the idea thing. We have never really taken advantage in the past of the fact that it's an annual thing. We always did 1 week of activities or a month of activities in March, and then we left it alone until the following year, right? And so this year I was like, that's not really not necessary because you could speak to this theme again, later in the year. And particularly if you want to go to the Family Islands, you take your time and, you go there and you do it correct. And so we want to do it correct, and so we're going to take our time and develop the idea in much more detail, fine-tune it. And then so we have something really to present to the public to really assist them in educating them, informing them along those lines.
I want to ask you about this. So you talked about how this came to be, World Consumer Rights Day in the U.S., and, we hear a lot about consumer rights there, but there's been challenges here. You've talked about it a number of times, bodies that you started years ago. Are we there? Are we more the business owner? Are we more oriented to protecting them as opposed to the consumers? Where do things stand now in the Bahamas?
I'll say that's an interesting perspective because the business owners only have the Chamber of Commerce, the BCEC, to really like to protect their interests, promote their interests, but consumers has a whole ministry, a whole government agency that's responsible for that, a statute body, which is Consumer Protection Commission, right? I think the missing link really is the NGOs, right? And because the last active consumer advocacy group that we had in the Bahamas was actually headed by myself in the 90s, right? That was when the late Cylinder was on his final leg. I think they lost the government in 92. And if you recall, in 91, he created the first standalone Ministry of Consumer Affairs with the late B.J. Knowledge as the first minister, right? No other administration.
It was only in 91?
Yeah, that was in 91, right? Later is right, at the end more. Like if he served 25 years, then that would have been his 25th year, or 24th, because in 92, right, the government changed and the FNM for the first time, right? But I would like to speak to, a couple of months ago, or when we were on the show last, I told you that we was doing a consumer shopping survey, right? And I promised that I would come back at some point and share some of the results with you, right? And so if you want to speak more about your 242, or if you want me to get into the preliminary results now.
Let's do that. We'll come to 242 after the break in a few minutes. So, yeah.
And so these are the preliminary results from that survey. It didn't go as well as we wanted it to, Bahamians, for some reason, they just they were complacent in this regard. I'm sure you can relate to that, right?
We had the folks from the Census on yesterday, and they said something similar.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why Bahamians shy away from surveys. Right? You need the data, you need the information, and the only way to do it is to ask questions. And if they don't respond, then you get a skewed response.
They don't want people in their business, apparently.
Well, it's our business. We just ask them their opinions. So, have you ever heard about the Consumer Protection Commission? 30% said yes, 60% said no. So we know that we have a lot of work to do, but 6% unanswered. Do you know what services the commission provides? Right, 220 or 19% said yes, 869 or 70% said no. Unanswered was 74 or 6%. What is your preferred method of payment when shopping locally? Right, cash, 738, 63%, credit card, 295 or 25%, debit card, 30%, 353 persons, sand dollar, 2 persons, 0.1%, 0.17%. And so Central Bank knows that they have a lot of work to do with sand dollar and what it represents. Do you know that you are entitled to a receipt for all your purchases? 95 persons, 86% said yes, 98 said no, that's 8%, and unanswered 70 persons or 6%. Have you ever been charged an extra fee when making a credit or debit card purchase? 48% or 554 persons said yes, 46% or 534 persons said no, 75 or 6% did not answer. And I think that number would have changed significantly if we got more persons to actually respond to the survey. Right? And this is what happens when you really get a small fraction of persons responding. Right? You know that it's more than that, but they just didn't.
Right.
Wasn't a part
Maybe
of
they're
it.
not even aware that they were charged something separate, something different.
Yeah, well, we don't know. Statistics is having the same problems, and so we've got to really find out how we're going to get more response from our public to really find out what's going on with them.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to have to revisit this at some point.
Remind us, what was the total number of respondents? How many people were included?
746.
Okay.
No, 1,163 persons responded to the survey, which is 1,837 short of the original goal of 3,000. We wanted to get 3,000 persons. We only got 1,163.
Wow. It's so interesting, though, because, so much of decision-making nowadays is driven by data.
Exactly.
So not being able to get sufficient data to really, derive, where we stand and where we're going is really problematic. I mean, I think opportunities like this are really important to remind people that the only way that you get meaningful change is by, taking part in the process, and when the surveys come around, to actually take part in it, because that's the only way you're going to get meaningful data that's then going to drive proper decision making. Otherwise, you're making decisions off of improper data.
Exactly.
Because I know with the credit card thing, there's a lot of businesses. I know there's been a push recently, a pushback against it, but a lot of businesses were doing the thing with, if you use a credit card, it's 5% more, 5% less, or whatever it is. But basically, building in that charge of, if you to essentially cover their merchant fee. For
which
using
is illegal.
Right,
It's actually proscribed.
And as much as people will talk about it and say it and all of that, but this goes back to the earlier conversation we were having. A lot of it is enforcement, right? It's the enforcement of the rules that already sit in place. But I imagine, the data would show differently, like Dwight's saying, depending on how much people were getting in.
Exactly.
But that should be a sticking point for the messaging, is encouraging people to take part.
And we talk about this almost every month. But people, so what do you think it is? The businesses just don't, we're doing this, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's not illegal in terms that there's no legislation that speaks to it, and so you cannot say it's illegal, but it's unethical. Right, and the law should be based on morality and ethics. Right, if you have an unjust law, then it's just it exacerbates the situation.
Right,
and so what they're violating is not the legislation; they're violating the merchant services agreement.
Right,
because the card issuers told them that that's a no-no. That's spelled out in their agreements. What we need to do now is try how to enforce, that merchant services agreement.
Well, why shouldn't it be illegal? Why shouldn't it be against the law?
I didn't say it shouldn't be against. I said it's not.
Do you agree that it should be against the law?
Yeah, right. Because
what can we do to make that happen?
Exactly right. And so that's where the conversation is happening now. Right. We had the initial conversation right on the show. We had Central Bank on, Mr. Demerit, and we had an initial conversation about that. Right. And so we've been reaching out to Central Bank to get some guidance. Right, because they're the regulators for the banks, right? And so what the merchants are saying is that the banks are charging them this extra fee to process these payments. And so they just want to recuperate a cost. But there's something called a cost of doing business, right? And that is a cost of doing business, right? And so you have to factor that in when you're looking at your projections and your budgets, that, this is just like how you factor in your electricity and your whatever else have you, your inputs, that should be one of those. Right. Not everything is going to be recovered from the consumer, right? I mean, we have a lot of stress on us now. We don't need any extra charges or extra fees. I'm not going to go taxes because I work for the government, so I cannot say that we should not be paying any more taxes. That don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm talking about private sector fees, that particularly the ones that are inappropriate or not recommended or prescribed by the issuer and the card holders, right? Your MasterCard, your American Express, your Visa, right? If they specifically tell you that one of the conditions of using this card, right, or being a merchant that can accept these type of payments is that you should not make credit or debit card payments more expensive than cash, and because that's what they're actually doing, right? And so when the government of Obama says that we want to go cashless, right, and then you have this segment or this demographic that's saying that, no, we're going to make not using cash more expensive, then, what's the incentive to go digital or go cashless when it's more expensive?
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, I think there's two things there. What is the penalty for, because it's a private business contract agreement.
Yes.
So what is the penalty for breaching that agreement would be kind of the first question. And I think just as an idea, perhaps it's an opportunity to arm consumers to feel empowered to kind of push the issue. So, for example, you could have a website or a Facebook page set up where you have people submit, because a lot of these businesses have a little sign up that says, what the 5% or whatever the difference is. So just have people take the opportunity of taking a snapshot of the sign and the sign of the business and submitting it. So that way you have an inflow of information from the public, because if we're really concerned about not being charged something that we shouldn't be charged, then I know if I saw that and I know there was an opportunity to do that to get, dry snitching, but nonetheless, I mean, if you're trying to move to meaningful progress, then empower people to be able to take a snapshot of a business, submit it to the Consumer Protection Commission or Central Bank or whomever it is that's responsible, and pull the information in. Because if I know that I'm doing that to my own benefit, then I'd be more interested in taking part in that way. And maybe there's more impact there from even potentially the survey, because now you're getting actual data from the street every day that's saying, well, this vendor on this street is doing this. And that perhaps there's an opportunity there to pull information. But I think sometimes it's a matter of getting a little bit more grassroots in the approach and just finding a way to just pull the information in and allowing people to take...
Shame the merchants.
But we can't do that, right? And that's why the legislation actually calls for an NGO, right? This legislation actually encourages the development. CPC is supposed to be encouraging development of a consumer advocacy group.
So you can't do it, but we could.
Exactly.
People come together and form this group that could
right?
do
And
that.
then they come and we have this type of conversation off record, and then we're better informed. The legislation speaks to that, right? And so I was on the show before, and I said that I'm encouraging anybody who's listening to my voice, right? Because as Alexis mentioned, they have these little groupings informally on Facebook already, right? But it's time now to come out of the digital space or the digital sphere and actually get into real life, right? And do something and formally organize yourself. We're here to assist you. As I indicated, I come from a consumer advocacy background. I mean, I was the last president of the recently active consumer advocacy group, private sector NGO in the Bahamas. So I know what I speak, right? I know it's in the legislation, right? When I had a chance to review the legislation, I made sure that was in there, right? So when I was approached by government when they were coming up with the Consumer Protection Act, right? They reached out to the existing NGOs at the time for input and feedback, which they should do. It's called consultation, right? And so when I reviewed the legislation, I made sure it wasn't just a copy and paste thing from Barbados or Jamaica, that it was appropriate to the Bahamas, right? And because, that cut and paste has its advantages and a lot of downside as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because it has to be applicable to your situation locally. And who better to speak to that than someone who's actually in the field, right, and doing the work. But I wanted to go into one particular statistic because we stopped, and it's only about a couple more questions. We were talking about the minimum purchase, right? Have you ever had a problem with a businessman shopping or making a purchase? Well, 47% said yes, 46% said no. Was it ever result to your satisfaction? 25% yes, 30% no. Are you satisfied with the level of customer service and shopping in the Bahamas? 355 to 31% yes. 730 to 60% no, that's unexpected. This is the one that I wanted to get to. Would you like to see the return, and I put this there intentionally, would you like to see the return of a local consumer advocacy group? 1,060, or 91% said yes. 28 or 2% said no. 75 or 7% was unanswered. And that's the key question. And that's why I wanted to get to that, because we spoke about it, but you didn't know at the time that it was actually in the survey.
Right.
Right. And so those 1,060 persons is enough to actually form a consumer advocacy group.
Right.
Right. Those same 1,060, you don't even need that many. You could do that with 20 or 25 or 30 persons. Right. And if they need advice, if they need guidance, come and see me.
They're all waiting for a Messiah.
Come and see me. Right? I will tell you how to do it. Right? I will guide you. That's our role. That's a part of the legislation. We'll be fulfilling our purpose if we were to assist and guide you, because we're mandated to do that by the legislation.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to do it since I've been with CPC, and I'm kind of like disappointed because I want to do that. I want to see that happen because I know the role that they play and can play and required to play in any developing country. We have it in also the Caribbean. You have your private sector consumers who play a major role. Consumers International is a non-governmental organization. It's not a governmental organization.
Yeah. My goodness.
Right? Consumer protection, we can't even join, and we could only have observer status.
Right.
Because we're government.
Right. It's an opportunity, folks. Are you listening? We need somebody out there to start to kick this off. All right. So I just want to tell you this story really quickly. I went to a business establishment, and my bill was $6.05. I gave them $6.10. They said, "You don't have a 5 cents?" I said, "No, I don't." And nothing back. Look at me like, "Oh, wait, aren't you supposed to give me my 10? The 10 cents? Why did you keep that?" What's supposed to happen in a situation like that? I mean, it's only 5 cents, but still.
Yeah, you got robbed for 5
I got robbed, right? I mean,
you got short change, a nickel.
And most places around here, they would give you back the 10 cents and take that 5 cent loss. But I was very surprised. I didn't make a big deal because I was in a hurry. But am I wrong? Or what's supposed to happen
They're
there?
only rounding up and rounding down pennies.
But that's not the way.
Rounding up and rounding down nickels.
Right?
Pennies.
So I was robbed.
Yeah.
Blatantly in bold daylight, robbed.
Straight in your
and
face.
Right in my face. Like, would you expect you didn't have a 5 cent? That's very surprising. So it's very difficult. We expect that these merchants are going to be so willing to eradicate minimum purchases and to deal with accept debit cards and credit cards as cash. I mean, we've got a long way to go.
But you got to start somewhere.
Boy. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about something happy. 242 Day after the break, and you will have a lot of very special things going on for 242 Day, and I'm very proud of this. It's very good to hear somebody's doing this. We'll get to that after the break. This is Morning Blend Business and Consumer Voice here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Introducing the new tortilla lime crunch chicken sandwich from Wendy's. And I have a little bit of everything: avocado, taco mayo, pickles, and crunchy tortillas on top of a delicious breaded chicken fillet. Yes, try it and add our all-new Dave's Craft lemonade to your combo. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
Carifta is almost here, and the Live has partnered with TCL for you to capture gold at the 2023 Carifta Games. Switch to Alive and get a free TCL 30 Plus or TCL 30 SE on select Alive postpaid plans to share pictures and videos of our Bahamian athletes as they hit the tracks to win gold. Visit your nearest Alive store or mobile van location and come gold with us at the 2023 Carifta Games.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
So many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting our show together, we're polishing up our act. And if you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want y'all to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the ain't no stopping us now. We've got to do. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the I know. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got to do. We got it. I know you know someone that has a negative vibe. And if you're trying to
We're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9, our consumer voice segment. Once a month with the Consumer Protection Commission. Dwight Strachan with Alexis Burrows. We are talking with Davis Farrington and LeVay Darling. And this Friday, we've been telling you about it for weeks now, for a couple of years actually, but it looks like it's going to finally be a thing. And 242 Day. And we've been encouraging you every February 24th, the 24th day of the second month, 242, to celebrate the day as a uniquely Bahamian experience. And now it's government endorsed. The Independent Secretariat has included it on its 50th anniversary celebrations all year, and we're hoping it'll be an annual thing. And so we've been encouraging you to, show your pride, wear your flag colors, eat Bahamian dishes, do something uniquely Bahamian, and we even put a challenge out to merchants, to price your things. If you sell it for $3, sell it for $2.42. If you sell it for $300, sell it for $242. A special discount that day or something like that. But we're hearing more and more people coming forward and saying we are going to be doing something for 242 Day as well. And the CPC, Consumer Protection Commission, is going to be doing something special. Oh, yeah. Tell us about it, David. Tell us what's going to be happening on Friday with you all.
Dwight again, and good morning, Bahamas. I'm happy to speak on behalf of the Executive Director of the Consumer Protection Commission, Ms. Michelle Carroll. Good morning, Ms. Carroll. I know you're tuning in. Good morning to the office staff at the Consumer Protection Commission. I know they're tuning in as well. So I speak on behalf of the entire Consumer Protection Office to announce that we are taking on the challenge of the Guardian Radio Network to participate in 242 initiative. And how are we going to do that? We are dressing in our Bahamian colors, Bahamian flag colors, aquamarine, gold, and black. This is the closest thing I could find to it. It's not quite exact, but on Friday I'll have my 242 colors out for sure. Excellent. In full force. And we are heading out early to the Salvation Army, top of the hill, Mackey Street. And as a team, we are coming, partnering with the Salvation Army, and we're going to serve the needy, the less fortunate. We're going to serve hot meals on that day and do whatever we can to help the Salvation Army bring a hot meal to the less fortunate.
Yeah.
And in addition to that,
242 meals.
Well, we're going to try to get 242 meals out, and on top of that, we're going to make a monetary donation to the Salvation Army in the sum of $242 million. No, just joking. I wish we could afford that. We're going to donate $242 to the Salvation Army.
That is wonderful.
On that day as well, Dwight.
That is wonderful. That's good stuff there. That's great. And this is, again, we've been hoping that more businesses will come on board and do something special for the day. And so it's still time to get it together and everybody figure out some creative ways to do it. And of course, now the Independent Secretary is asking for everybody to take photos and videos and post them so we can all see what you're doing, how you're showing your Bahamian pride, or if you're doing something charitable. And use the hashtag 242day or Celebrate Bahamas.
Right.
So hashtag 242day or hashtag Celebrate Bahamas on Friday. What do you think of this all? We're saying we need more days where we get to show our spirit and celebrate, not just Independence Day, and especially as people are in school. Some schools might be on midterm, but at this time of year, as compared to July when students are out of school, but you might get to see this at this time of year. And that's we need as many days like this as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I think the good thing about it all is that this year, because it's our 50th, right? We don't just have a month of activities, right? We have I think it started from last year, December, something like that. And so it gives Bahamians the opportunity to be more creative. Everything doesn't have to be crammed into a month or a day, like the day itself. The same thing you were saying with the theme for World Consumer Rights Day. Everything doesn't have to be crammed into the day itself, which is 15th of March, right? And so it gives you the opportunity to promote the 242 Day without taking away from, because if you had tried jam it into just July, it probably would have been downplayed or overplayed, right, with the amount of activities that were coming on. But because you stretch it over a longer period of time, it gets a chance to take on its own legs and run with it. Because it's in February, and the big dance is in July. Right. But and also I think they're having something in January, February, March, April, May, June, leading up to July. They may actually even extend that beyond July, because the whole year is really our anniversary year, 50th, not just a month. Absolutely. Right, and so that's a good thing. Yeah. Right, and I support that wholeheartedly.
We've been having a great conversation. If you have any questions based on what we've been talking about, give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. I don't know if this is a personal matter, Datus, but somebody wants your contact number. Maybe
I'll give them the hotline.
Yes, give them the hotline.
That's what they meant.
Yeah.
Yes. The number for the Consumer Protection Commission 24-hour hotline is 357-7898. That's 357-7898. And if it is a complaint, you may email us at complaints@cpcbahamas.gov.bs.
Are people using the hotline? How often you hear?
Oh yeah, we've been getting a lot of traffic on the hotline and on our website and by email. It seems the word is getting out. People know that they have an institution that they can, an organization that they can come to seek resolution to their complaints. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy that the word is out there and people are
Excellent.
responding. Yes.
And do you have? Can you say what your success rate is, or what do you consider a success?
I'm proud to say since last year, September, taking office as the complaints manager, that we've at least solved 50% of our cases per month. So if we get 10 cases in the month of January, at least 5 of them are solved, and the balance of them are either on the verge of being solved or still fresh and new, and we are working on them.
Okay.
Yes.
Any similarities in the types of complaints? Or they're all a certain type of?
In fact, the number one complaint we get is businesses refusing a cash refund. It's I don't know why, but businesses just refuse to give people their money back. It's their money. You don't own the money. You can't keep the money if there's a defect in your product. People have a right to get money back if there's a defect in your product that you sell.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people go around the world to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're still forcing you
Yes.
to take cash credit, store credit.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
Insisting
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And so to follow up on that, right? The last question that we asked was, what was your worst shopping experience? Right, and that was an open-ended question. It was a yes or no, so they had to actually list their worst shopping experience. So these are some of the worst shopping experiences that we got in terms of our responses from the survey. Overcharging, poor customer service, beauty supply stores, no receipt or refund given, false advertisement on products, buying a product with unfair pricing, and no refund on faulty items purchased. Right, and so he's absolutely correct. The refunds and the store policies relating to refunds, exchanges, cash refunds is a major issue for us. The legislation speaks to it. It tells you the conditions under which a merchant or service provider should provide a refund or a exchange or a cash refund, and it's not being adhered to. And so we know we have our work cut out for us in that regard. It's going to take a lot of educating of the public, but also simultaneously it's going to take us educating the merchant class as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Right, so they can be compliant with the legislation.
This person wants you to repeat the email address for complaints.
The complaints email is complaints@CPC, that's Consumer Protection Commission, cpcbahamas.gov.bs.
Okay. This texter here, earlier we were talking about clean energy, the theme for Consumer Rights Day. This person said this doesn't come before you exactly though, but they're saying we need to make EVs duty-free and VAT-free for the average citizen. I mean,
electric vehicles.
Vehicles.
That sounds great.
That sounds good too. I would.
Will it happen? I don't know, but it sounds very good.
The government has started that process. They already started to reduce the duties on those types.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Dwight. I
They've
heard.
already started it.
Yeah. They want it lower.
lower than 10%.
Yeah, but 10 is pretty.
I mean,
pretty good
compared to
compared to 65 plus.
Exactly right.
Yes.
I mean, like, really. I mean, I think they're doing a good job in terms of making them more affordable, right? And you know that your custom charge is really what really sends the price up of our imported goods, right? And so when the thing about it now is what came up recently when the government wanted to add those extra items to the breadbasket items. Persons may not realize it, but what that was all about was the government trying to ensure that the reductions in customs duties that they made on a major or whole section of items were actually being passed on to them. That's really what that was all about.
Yeah.
Right. That was the attempt. Right, so persons need to understand that the government wanted to make sure that if they reduce the duty on items, that the consumer is benefiting from that reduction. That was all about.
Yeah.
A lot of the electric vehicles are just expensive on their own, though. That's a part of the challenge. A lot of the EVs now, like you can't say that you want an EV, but then you want to go get a Tesla, right? And then say that I can't get a Tesla because it's the fact that it's the 10% VAT and the 10% duty, right? I think that's a part of it as well. If that's what you go in for, then that's kind of a barrier to entry on its own. But there's a lot of more inexpensive brands that are out there. You just
Yeah, and more on the way. Hopefully this year, next year, there'll be some more affordable ones out there for people to purchase.
Dwight, they say when the U.S. coughs, we catch a cold. And I just heard over the newscast the other day, President Biden said that by 2025, America will do away with carbon emission vehicles and go fully electric. So obviously, eventually that will trickle down to the Bahamas. And so it's important that we find a way to make it more affordable for Bahamians to get electric vehicles if that's what the end goal is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially since the Prime Minister has advocated and has been pushing for clean energy and climate change. I mean, due to climate change, so we're going down that road and we're going down there fast.
Yeah.
And so we have to prepare as Bahamians. We need to start cutting back, saving towards getting our own electric vehicle later down the road, I personally am not a fan of them, but because I can't picture pulling up to some location to watch my car charge for 2 hours.
Charge it overnight at home.
Time is money.
Charge it at night if you can. This person says here, oh boy, this is Dwight, don't let no woman hear you making noise over 10 cents because she'll say you cheap.
I was thinking it's not principle. It's not the nickel. It's the principle.
Right.
If
and they're a big company. They could afford
entitled to your change and your receipt.
Exactly.
Hey, that's why the rich are rich. They watch their pennies.
Right?
And the dollars take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Right?
There you go. There you go. And people were asking this a lot. Dwight, do you know where to get 242 shirts and paraphernalia from, where they're being sold? I don't know, but there are lots of people selling Bahamian themed shirts.
You could Google it. You could go on Facebook, the marketplace, and find that.
They're all over the place.
You could have it made. Right?
Exactly.
So we may meet some people this week who are doing some of those things. But yeah, there are lots of opportunities out there. All right. So we're gonna look forward to next month. Where you'll come on, I think, right around, if not that day.
The 14th is a Tuesday, and so we may be speaking to you about actually
coming on the 15th. Yeah,
the day itself.
That'll be fine. I think we can work that out.
Okay, cool.
So World Consumer Rights Day next month. Looking forward to that discussion. Gentlemen, thank you for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. Always a pleasure. LeVay Darling and Davis Farrington. And Alexis Burrows. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you again. Always a pleasure talking with you. And that's going to do it for us this morning. We're going to be back tomorrow with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business. Morning Blend Business brought to you in part by Seafowl, growing wealth for future generations. And pick up today's Guardian Business for the latest in business news in the country. Again, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Dwight Strachan, have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.